So back in 2021, we acquired this piece of land with one main sole purpose: chicken farming. And we had actually thought of just purely kienyeji chicken farming. And after we fenced it, I think we've taken you through the process of, construction of the chicken house. As you can see, I think around here you'll see some chicken around because I'm just next to the chicken house. But remember, we started with our backyard chicken where I stay before we moved some of those chicken that were actually born there to come here and start the breeding stock. So in essence, we've actually built the kienyeji chicken farm here for the past 1 year. Currently we have around maybe 40 kienyeji chicken, and they are still growing in numbers. So this particular part of the farm is actually stabilized, and of course, as they keep growing, we'll always extend their houses to this other end. Now, as you can see, if you see clearly within this video, at the back you'll see some sort of a construction, and that basically is what we call a sheep pen, which we are constructing currently. I'll take you through the whole design in maybe the next video. This year we have decided to actually go with sheep, and of course there are other things that will come as time goes by, because you never know. So but the next thing that we're going to venture into will be sheep farming, and there are a number of reasons why we settled on sheep farming as compared to other types of livestock that we have. So in this particular episode, we're going to discuss that. But before that, if you're new here, this is Africa Farming. My name is Samuel. This channel is for new generation farmers and new entrants in farming who are willing to learn new farming practices. So you can take a second or two to subscribe and hit on the notification bell. If you have any feedback that you would want us to know about any of our videos, or this video in particular, you can always go to our comment section and make sure you leave us your feedback, which will help us improve. There are a number of reasons as to why we settled on sheep farming, and we'll be actually discussing some of them. Maybe when you will come to that particular point in time when you will want to venture into your livestock farming, you might consider some of these reasons. So the first for us was the cost. So when it comes to sheep farming compared to goats and, let's say, beef or cows, you'll find that sheep is slightly cheaper in terms of cost, general costs. Now, purchasing, for example, a 6-month-old ewe, 6-month-old ewe as compared to a 6-month-old doe, or a calf for that matter, you'll find that within this particular area that we are in, it costs around $30 to buy a 6-month-old ewe. And remember, most sheep will start breeding from the 7th month up to, for example, 9th month. So for example, if we take just the 9th month as the time that we'll actually be breeding, if we buy this 6-month-old ewe, we have only 3 months of nurturing it, feeding it and all that to be able now to start breeding. And normally their gestation period is around 5 months, or 4 months and 21 days to be specific. So you'll find that cost-wise, it's cheaper to acquire an ewe for that $30 as compared to a doe. A doe would cost me around $60, the cheapest. Sometimes goes to $70 and all that. So in terms of cost, purchase cost, that is it. Secondly, when it comes to even just if you look at the nutritional demands of sheep as compared to goats, sheep don't really require a lot compared to goats. Goats have higher nutritional demands compared. Same thing to cattle. So for sheep, as long as you have this farm and we've fenced this farm, we'll actually just be able to do what we call paddocking and letting them feed. Once in a while, we'll supplement with hay and, for example, and maybe mineral block or salt block that will help them. But other than that, I think their costs are actually cheaper compared to these others. So that was the first thing that we looked at when it came to what we needed to venture into next. Secondly, sheep are pure grazers as compared to goats. Goats are browsers. I have one goat that I was given by a neighbor last year, Christmas. And as I can see, just that one goat has caused a lot of destruction to my trees. Now, I planted some pine trees around the farm last year and they're growing well, so I wouldn't want anything to interfere with them. Now, I've had one goat here since Christmas that has actually caused havoc. It has eaten some of my pine trees, and I'm thinking of, the good thing is we have this sheep pen, being constructed, and in due course we'll actually restrain it there. But basically, sheep are pure grazers as compared to goats, which are browsers. So you'll find that goats will eat trees, shrubs, your fence, and all that. So for now, in terms of our farm, our trees are still young, our pole fence is still young, so we don't want animals that will come and devour them. So for us, goats was not an option, considering what we've actually done in the farm, and we want these trees to be very, very mature, and of course it will take time. We don't want what we've invested in these trees to just come to an end. Thirdly, our farm is situated in an ASAL area. For those people who don't know what ASAL is, arid and semi-arid. So Kajiado area is classified as a semi-arid area. So it does not receive really, enough amount of rainfall to sustain, those animals that would really require, regular or frequent kind of, rainfall. So one thing that we decided on especially is the breed of sheep that we want to rear, which is called Dorper. And Dorper sheep breed do well in this particular weather. So if you're in an ASAL area, the best type of sheep to actually keep is what we call a Dorper sheep. And that is actually what we want to bring to the farm. And it is well adaptable it actually adapts very well to this harsh condition. So when it comes to, if you look at last year when the drought really hit hard before any rain fell, most of the livestock that were actually dying were cattle and goats. So sheep were actually very hardy. They were not, I didn't find any corpse of any sheep around, but mostly I would see cattle here and there, I would see goats here and there. So that is also one of the reasons why we are considering sheep farming, because they adapt well to this kind of weather and climate. So it will be easier for us to rear them here without any sort of hardship or any extra effort that we'll need to put in place, right? Now, the other reason as to why we decided to keep sheep is that they're less prone to diseases compared to goats and all that. Their immunity is kind of better compared to goats. Of course, the alternative to sheep is goats. So we compare the two in terms of their immunity and resistance to diseases. Goats, if you find goats mixed with sheep, mostly when they're reared together, you'll find that the goats will always fall sick faster, with the sheep being the ones spreading the diseases. But the sheep themselves will actually be resistant to those diseases. You may actually ask somebody who's doing the same. So for us, we thought maybe we could just do sheep basically without having to really stress a lot, because they are resistant to diseases, and as long as you follow the normal vaccination schedule, which is not normally a lot for sheep, you'll find, especially in this weather condition, very rarely will you find your sheep being sick, as long as you give them whatever it is that they require, the basic minimum. For goats, you'll find that they really, really sometimes get sick out of very simple things, and you'll need a lot of veterinary visits to be able to sustain the kind of numbers that we want to keep in the farm. We actually want to keep over 500 sheep in the farm, so when it comes to goats, it will really be messy for us in terms of controlling diseases. It will be very expensive for us. So sheep are actually very hardy, so to speak. The fifth reason as to why we decided to venture into sheep farming is that their facilities are actually cheaper to construct. If you look at the shed that we've constructed just behind us, of course it can also keep goats and cattle. We just decided not to go the traditional native way around here. But if you look at the traditional native way of constructing a sheep shed, it's always a low thicket kind of thing surrounding, a circular thicket thing. And as long as sheep can see something that surrounds them, they are actually restrained. Psychologically, they know they are restrained. As compared to goats. Goats, if you don't have something high as this, as you can see, what we've constructed here is slightly higher. I'm not saying you go for this. This is somehow more expensive compared to the cheaper ones that you can have. If you're considering sheep farming, you can go for the cheaper options of just using the thicket, and the sheep will actually dwell very well. But for us, the reason why we decided to do this is so that, because we are looking at, huge numbers, we wanted something that could, be long term. But if I was given the choice, I would start with, the simple native way of, building the sheep pen. So they don't really need a lot. It's actually cheaper to construct their facilities. When it comes to goats, goats are very curious in nature. So they like to jump around because they're looking for shrubs and all that. So if you build something low, they'll always jump out and you'll find your goats gone. So that is also one of the reasons. It's easier to contain them and all that. Their facilities are cheaper. Even if it comes to paddocking, as I've told you, we'll be practicing paddocking, free range paddocking within the farm. So it will be easier for us to do the paddocking when it comes to the sheep because they don't require a lot. Even just seeing a rope around it, they'll actually be restricted within that area. That is not the case when it comes to cattle or goats. So that is a main reason. That is one of the main reasons why we also decided to go with sheep. The other reason, of course, lamb meat is delicious. For those people who've tested lamb meat, I'm not talking about those old sheep. I'm talking about lamb meat compared to if you take a 6-month old lamb and a 6-month-old kid or goat, you'll find that for me personally, my preference is the sheep, because sheep, first of all, they're not bony. Goats are very bony, so it's difficult to actually even eat their meat. But sheep are actually, I love the flesh in it, and when cooked well, they are actually very delicious. So that is also the reason why we went for sheep, because I think you'll see one of our shorts. If you look at our YouTube shorts, you'll find that Christmas last year we had lamb, and it was very delicious, very delicious. One of the reasons why my wife was skeptical about sheep was because of the taste, but I told her to try lamb, and she really, really enjoyed Christmas because she was skeptical. Maybe she had actually tried old sheep that were smelly and all that. But this time, if you try lamb meat, trust me, you'll never go back. So that was also a reason why we decided to go into sheep farming. The other reason is the market. If you look at Kajiado area, there is higher demand for sheep as compared to goats and cattle. Reason being, the area around is, I think, a sheep zone. Let me say that. So most Maasais around here like lamb meat. So it will be easier for us to rear sheep and sell to the locals, even if not in this same area, but maybe within the markets that have been designated within Kajiado. They actually go very fast. Their demand is very high. If you saw one of our videos when we went to buy, at that time we're buying goats for a certain event, you found, if you saw the background, most animals were actually sheep, because sheep are on demand as compared to goats and cattle. So that is also the reason why we are trying to venture into sheep farming. We also have an export processing zone within Kitengela, which actually buys lamb meat for export. So we're also looking into that, and that is also a reason for us to, venture into sheep farming. If you look at in terms of weight, sheep attain their weight very, very fast compared to goats. If you compare a 6-month-old goat and a 6-month-old sheep, you'll find that a 6-month-old lamb, let me call them lamb, is actually bigger. All factors constant, yeah. Let's say they they've actually been brought up in the same environment, eating the same food and all that. Sheep will attain weight faster compared to goats. So that is also another reason, because we want to do sheep farming for commercial reasons. So attainment of weight is good, because especially for the companies that export lamb meat, you'll be paid based on the weight. And also when you're selling lamb or goat or cattle, you always sell based on the weight. So if it can attain weight very fast, why not? One other reason, and actually it's the main reason for us, is sheep require little or no experience. By the way, if you're a first-time farmer, sheep will be the best for you to start, because they are not needy. They don't have a lot of things to really do about them. So as long as you make sure they have food, water, and a place to sleep, they are good to go. Sometimes even you don't need that place to sleep. As long as you have your compound, they will be good there. So they need little or no experience at all to start. And for us who are first timers in all these, I think it's better we learn from the sheep as we progressively go towards goat and cattle. Because as I told you, we are learners, we are first timers, and through this process, basically we will learn a lot. Otherwise, I hope we've learned a thing or two about sheep farming. I hope some of these reasons will influence you to start sheep farming, especially if you're a first timer in these. You can always start sheep farming, and I'll be taking you through the experiences that we have in the farm when it comes to sheep farming, some of the things that we've done. As I've told you, we've done this construction. I'll take you through the design or the layout of our construction and what influenced that design in the next video. And of course, whatever it is that we come, when we go purchase the sheep, I'll take you through and show you some of the things we look at when we purchase sheep. So I hope this will be a fantastic year, and wherever it is that you are, let's start as small as we are. Don't wait until you have I don't know what and what and what. Start wherever it is that you are, and let's grow together. Otherwise, that's it for today. If you have any comment, any question, any feedback, kindly link with us on our social media handles. Of course, Facebook Africa Farming, at Africa Farming KE on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you link with us. Our WhatsApp number is on the description. You can always go and check it out if you want to reach us via WhatsApp or calls, and we'll be glad to respond to your feedback. Otherwise, for us, it's bye-bye, and always changamka na ukulima. Bye-bye.